Hello again, everyone. This is Chris Scher. That's Robert Harding. This is the Citizen Sports Weekly for Thursday, May 21st, 2015. I almost messed up the date. I was off yesterday.
That's what happens
when you're off a day. I
I
went to a Pink Floyd tribute band.
How about that?
Called Brit Floyd in Syracuse last night. Great show. If you like Pink Floyd, you're gonna love these guys. They're that good. They really sound like Pink Floyd.
Brought the house down?
They got a standing ovation.
Nice.
It was very theatrical. They had lasers and all kinds of cool stuff. Lights, light show, lasers. But the music was top notch. I mean, all the musicians were just excellent. And the vocalists did sound like Roger Waters and David Gilmour. And they did a very good job. But hey, this isn't the Citizen Music pod video, I should say, or Music Weekly. So we're going to talk sports. We've got two topics. First one is Syracuse University, which can't seem to get it right. They do something that you think is the right thing, and then they're getting criticized for it. And what they did was they unretired the number 44 for the football team. And I had written a column, and I think we discussed it in a video recently, that Syracuse, in my opinion, should retire number 44. So they actually, they didn't listen to me, but I don't think they even knew I even said this. But I think they did the right thing here. And now they're getting criticized for unretiring the number. Keith Olbermann took a shot at Syracuse. Donovan McNabb took a shot at Syracuse. I mean, look, folks, the number is not retired for one person, okay? It was retired basically for three people. And, Floyd Little, Jim Brown, and Ernie Davis. And, the thing is, when you retire a number really for three people, I think it's okay to say, hey, you know something? If we want to bring this back, it's okay. Because it's not like you're insulting the memory of one person. This isn't like the Yankees unretiring number 5 or number 3 or even, number 2, which of course hasn't happened yet, but it will soon. So I agree with Syracuse doing this because I think it's going to help out with recruiting, which is very important. They do need talent. And I think it's a great thing. I think this is one of the things that makes college football such a great sport. I mean, Texas A&M has a 12th man, okay? The LSU has their Saturday night games, okay? Not Death Valley. That's Clemson. Clemson has Howard's Rock at Death Valley. College football has many great traditions. And for Syracuse, their great tradition is the number 44. And they've milked it. The zip code ends in 44. There's 44s all over the place at Syracuse. So why not unretire the number? Use it to get a great talent maybe. Some kid might actually learn something about the history of college football at Syracuse and say, you know something? That's for me. I want to take on that challenge. I want to wear that number. I want to wear it with pride. I want to be classy with that number. And I want to make a mark and put my name on that list with Little and Brown and Davis. And I think it would be great if the first guy who gets it, whenever it is, and it's not like they're just going to give it out to anybody. There's going to be, I guess, a collaboration of officials at SU. They're going to make the decision who gets to wear it. I think this is a great idea. I know Syracuse is taking a public relations hit right now. I think it's short term. Stick to your guns, Syracuse. Do the right thing. Give number 44 to a great player and watch what happens.
A few points on that. One, I think there's been mixed messaging because today we learned that Syracuse kind of went back on it and said that they're not really unretiring the number, that it's just a special circumstance,
right.
That they will. So it's they're not fully unretiring it. It's allowed, but nothing's really changed. There's still It's going to be still subject to review or whatever. So it's really confusing. Like you have this event one day saying, 44 is restored. Right. And then the next day you come back and say, well, not really. A player can wear it, but...
Don't be wishy-washy. Here's the thing. You don't have to give it out every year. It's not like someone has to wear it. I mean, look, if there's nobody that Syracuse thinks is not adequate or capable, but worthy of it, then don't give it out. I mean, look, back in the day, they didn't give it out every year, okay? I mean, Rob Conrad was the last player to wear it in 1998. Nobody wore it after 1998 until they retired it in 2005. So for 7 years, no one was worthy of wearing the number. So again, you don't have to give it out this year, okay? You can wait a couple years. I think, like I said, they need to just get by this whole public relations thing, brouhaha, let it blow over, and then a year or two, give it out. Or, maybe there's an existing player on the team who steps up, and you say to him, "Would you like to wear the number?"
Yeah.
So
I think and I've been a Syracuse fan since I was a kid, and I've just never understood the whole 44 thing.
mm-hmm.
It's a number worn by three of your most legendary players, but at the same time, just the procedure involved here, there's just so much, it's almost legalese in a sense. There's, a player can wear it, but it's, subject to, a review, and, it's a special circumstance.
You haven't seen a dispensation.
Yeah, it's, it really is kind of odd to handle the issuing of a jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what we're getting down to
A number.
here.
It's a number.
And if you look back, when Davis, Brown, and Little wore it, I think Little was the last of those three, and then after that, there were 6 or 7 players that wore it.
Mandel Robinson comes to mind. There were some other players that wore 44 that did not live up to the hype, or weren't, up to those 3 guys. And look, those 3 guys are 3 of the greatest running backs in college football history. Floyd Little and Jim Brown are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They had pretty good careers as pros. Obviously, Jim Brown retired as the NFL's all-time leading rusher after only 7 seasons, I believe, for the Browns. And Port Ernie Davis died of leukemia. If you've ever seen the movie The Express, you know what his story is, and it's very sad. And I'm sure he would have been a great pro. So, again, I don't know what the difficulty is. Just you've unretired the number, save it, wait till someone's worthy of it. And here's the other thing. I almost forgot about this. Who says you have to give it to a running back?
That's right.
In college football, you can give any number to any player at any position, okay? So who would say a linebacker is a great linebacker? Give him number 44.
Yeah.
How about a quarterback, So who says you have to give it to a running back? I think if you got a defensive lineman, I got to admit, that'd be a little difficult. But still, if you have a great player, an all-American player, a guy that is a great character person, a great football player, give him the number, even if he's a linebacker, defensive back, a kicker. Well, I know that's not going to happen. All right, so we're not going to see 44 on a punter. I like punters, by the way. Okay, for the record, I like punting. Okay, so let's just be careful here. Let's not just overreact to some public brouhaha. So Anything else you want to add, Robert?
No, I think we've
covered it.
We've covered it. Mm-hmm. We've given our 44
reasons. One last thing. I will admit this, though. The only reason why I would want to see 44 not come out again is I don't want to see on those ugly uniforms that Nike came up with. That 44 with like the long base of the number, it's going to be like about 10 feet long. Yeah. Ugh, I'm sorry. Get rid of the uniform, Syracuse. Get something classy like you used to have in the 80s and the 90s, even the 70s. Or do a throwback like the 50s or 60s, But anyways. All right, now we're going to talk NFL because, of course, that's what we do here at Citizen Sports Weekly in May because there's nothing else to talk about that's really, baseball, horse racing, NBA, NHL playoffs. Who cares about those things? We have the NFL. And the NFL made news this week, surprise, when they announced that they have approved the change to the PAT rule in regards that if you're kicking the PAT, you're going to be kicking it, snapping the ball from the 15, which makes it a 32-yard PAT. And if you're going to go for 2, it's still at the 2-yard line. We had suggested maybe moving it up to the 1 to make it a little more, make it a little more daring to try for 2. But the NFL didn't listen to us. Shows you how much they know. But no, I think this was a great move. It's the right decision to make, and I think that it makes the extra point. It's still basically going to be made 90% of the time, which is what you want most times, but it's not going to be a gimme. And I think in some situations, if it's windy, if it's a little more of a pressure-packed kick, they got to make it to tie the game, or it's raining or something, it's going to add a little more fun to a little degree of difficulty there. Yeah. And for the 2-point conversion, it's still at the 2, and I don't think that's really going to change that much. I really don't think this is going to have a huge impact. I really don't. I really don't think it's going to have a huge impact. Yeah, you're going to see more missed extra points, but that's about it. I don't think it's really going to play a giant role in how coaches coach the game. Okay, now it might have a role in strategy at the end of a game, where, because you missed an extra point earlier, you're going to have to go for 2 later on, okay? You might see more of that in certain situations. But I think if everything's even, I think coaches are still going to want to kick the PAT instead of going for 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's, obviously we're kind of dealing with a bit of an unknown here because, while they tested this out in the preseason last year, we really haven't seen it that much.
Right.
We haven't seen how this would affect coaching strategy and that kind of thing. I could see it having an impact. You mentioned the elements, and that's something that a few people I've read this week have mentioned that, if you're a coach and you're down 1 and you've got to kick the extra point and it's windy, it's rainy, it's snowing,
Buffalo.
If the elements, and you're worried about a bad snap, bad kick, of course,
Right.
There's certainly more room for error now with a 32, 33-yard kick. So do you take that, or do you just go out there and go for 2?
I mean, if you have a great running game, if you have not been stopped at all on defense, and running the football, the defense hasn't stopped you, it might be better to go for 2. If you have a running quarterback, I know the Eagles have Tim Tebow now. Would that be tempting? To put him in as quarterback on 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a threat to run or pass. So it doesn't like you got to worry about his arm strength on a 2-yard pass, right? So it's interesting. Sorry, Tim. You're not a bad person. Unfortunately, you just this rep about you is just it's kind of funny in a way, but anyways, we'll see what happens with Tebow. But now one more question. I have to admit I forgot this part. Did they also approve that if the defense returns it, it's a point for the defense?
Yes, if the defense, because in the past, there's been interceptions, there's been fumbles, and when the defense has recovered those in the past, it's been a dead ball.
Yeah.
Now the defense will have a chance to return it, and if they return it, they get the 2 points.
Yeah.
So just like college.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think that might play a role too. I mean, if you're a defense and I remember Louis Oliver intercepting Jim Kelly in the end zone and returning it 106 yards for a touchdown. And never forget that game, 1992.
I think it was 104.
No, 104. Okay. Yeah, it was over 100. But the thing is, though, I think that's a good thing to do because it does encourage a defender. Because what's the worst that happens? If you come out of the end zone, you get tackled. So what? Yeah. Now, what would be interesting is just think of the defender intercepts the football, comes out of the end zone, is hit, fumbles the ball, the offense recovers it, and then runs it in. Is that still 2 points?
I believe it is.
It would be so. All right. I think that's enough, folks, unless Robert wants to add anything that
I'm done.
He's done. We're done, folks. That's
Memorial Day.
We appreciate your support. Yes, have a happy Memorial Day to all the troops that have served our country and have passed away either in war or after war. We appreciate your service. Thank you very much. Please don't forget the real reason of Memorial Day. It's not Veterans Day. It's a moment to reflect on the people that have passed and died for our country and the service. So we always appreciate that. So until next week, folks, enjoy the video and please share the link. We really enjoy making these videos and we want to see more people watch them. Thanks again.